Joining us now to break down the outlook on Capitol Hill is Kat Cammack, the Republican who flipped the seat in Florida's 3rd Congressional District. So, Kat, once again, thank you for coming on tonight. I want to congratulate you on your victory, but I think that a lot of Republicans aren't ready to celebrate just yet. They're looking ahead to those Senate runoff races and trying to look back at the November race and determine what worked there. So, in your opinion, you're one of the women who were pivotal to the Republican success. What do you think that they should be focusing on in Georgia?
Well, I can tell you, coming into the 117th Congress as the youngest Republican woman in the country, one of the things that was integral to our success was telling our story. Just 9 years ago, I was homeless, and now I'm going to the House of Representatives. And that's something that conservatives have struggled with, is telling the story as to why they have the values and principles and core beliefs that we all do. So in Georgia, as we're looking ahead, really fighting for control of the Senate, we have got to tell that American story. And that is what is going to sway voters to our side. And there's a lot of divisive rhetoric out there. You were just talking about it a little bit ago. And as long as we focus on the things that make us Americans, that is where we can get those independent and swing voters. And couple that with a grassroots effort, an army of folks that are out hitting the pavement, knocking on doors, making those phone calls, we can pick up both of these seats and retain the Senate. And that is going to be critical to preserving our constitutional republic.
I think that's very well said, because so often when we talk about these discussions, it seems like liberals make the emotional argument, and that it does resonate among a lot of people. But what you just laid out right there, it's an emotional argument driven by facts and policies that can get you to where you want to be. And I think that's so important. And I think that you're a testament to that, as you were just laying out, not only about your story, but also the fact that you are going to be the youngest Republican woman in Congress. And that is something that the Republican Party needed to do, at least now, but it's a little bit too late, in my opinion. They needed to diversify earlier rather than later, and we're starting to see that that strategy does indeed work. So do you think that should be an outreach for the party moving more so forward?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I never campaigned on, hey, vote for me because I'm a woman, or hey, vote for me because I'm the youngest one in the field. It was always about, I'm the best person for the job. So when you get down to brass tacks, that is what we need to be selling to the American people. And when you're talking to constituents, it's all about the experience and the ability to get things done. Because our constituents, the American people, they expect results and deserve results. And for too long, there's just been a lot of identity politics, a lot of rhetoric, and no action. It's all been show horses, but not work horses. And so when we're talking about this Georgia race, I really believe that they are going to be successful because they're going to have all the tactics to couple with the fact that they have the right policies. But looking more broadly at the future of the conservative movement and the Republican Party, you're starting to see, especially coming into the 117th, this is the most inclusive and diverse class that we've ever had. And it's so representative. It is really, truly the face of America. And I think that, without even laying it out in those identity politics terms, people are going to start to see, hey, there's young women, there's minorities, there's all kinds of people that really are reflective of America as a whole. And when you couple that with our platform, and our whole pursuit of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and equal opportunity, not equal outcome, that is when Americans are, especially those moderates and swing voters, are going to start saying, hey, I really like the option of freedom and choice and liberty over government, one size all, oppression, and this socialist movement that the left is trying to shove down our throats.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because even in Florida, for example, we saw that whole argument regarding the socialist left could have been the reason why there were many Latino voters who said, you know what, I can't vote Democrat this election. And that is something, too, we saw in this election that more Latino voters were coming out for Republicans. We saw a larger number of black voters coming out for Republicans. There's no doubt that there is a realignment of sorts that is taking shape within the two parties. And I don't think that they're no longer looked at as just a monolith of a voter. I mean, Democrats or black Americans don't have to vote Democrat just because they're black. They're starting to recognize that fact. So were Republicans given a consensus of how their voters want them to act in Congress? I know you're going to be in the minority, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a voice either. What are you going to be fighting for in Congress?
So for us, like I said, this election on November was about equal opportunity, not equal outcome. It was America versus socialism. And I think the fact that there are 43 Republicans coming in compared to the Democrats' 15, that speaks volumes. So we have a lot in the way of getting things done. You know, the Democrats have the smallest majority that they have ever had since World War II. So they're not going to be able to steamroll over Republicans. They're going to have to come to the negotiating table and work with us. For me personally, I think, especially in the COVID era, access to high-speed internet is of utmost importance, especially in my district. I have a rural district, and rural broadband is a top priority. So giving that access, that equal opportunity to every American where they are connected, whether it be for healthcare, whether it be for commerce, whether it be for education, that is a game changer in so many communities around the country. And so I'm going to be spearheading a rural broadband initiative, not just to rural communities, but also to underserved communities, because that is an equalizer of all sorts for every demographic across the country.
I think you're exactly right. Whether we're talking about big tech censorship, that's something that we've talked about on this program before. People need to get information, for example. But even right now, too, there are a lot of kids who are being forced to learn remotely. And we know that is not as effective as many people would like it to be. But it's something that a lot of people are dealing with for the time being. So you're exactly right to say that's a very, very important issue for this moment. But Kat Cammack, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Once again, congratulations on your victory. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you in Congress. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.